We need two more. I don't want to.
How long do we wait until we meet quorum? Because we can't be sitting here all night.
Historically, we have made calls. We call those.
Okay, yeah.
Wait, how many people are we missing for quorum?
We need two.
People.
That's crazy.
Should we call for recess?
Just suspend.
Well, you don't even need to call it recess because it
can't
hasn't
start.
started yet.
So we're not gonna have Kara. So Kara's not gonna be here. Who else are we missing? Gabby.
We're missing.
I'll call Gabby.
Yeah, can someone call Gio? Can someone call Brian? 6, 7, 8.
Geo won't be here because it's
nine,
high Kelly initiation night.
Okay.
And I believe it's her birthday.
What about, is Ellie gonna be here?
Kelly will not be here.
Oh, yes.
Is Abby, you're here, right? Yeah.
Abby's here. I'm right here.
Neil, you're here.
Sure I am.
I like it doesn't matter whatever.
Brandon.
Do you have Caitlin gonna be here?
Nazarene
is not
Brandon's
He told me that
We just have two more people in quorum, so we're just calling people to see if they're calling.
That'd be great.
Does anyone have, I can call Brian.
Is anyone calling Gabby?
I think, no, you're.
Oh, you're calling Gabby?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're totally good. No, you're good. All right.
Read my emails.
Who was that?
He was sitting in the lecture, he thought that was
In Elwood right now.
So we got the
Oh, it's
plan.
because you weren't.
And then
you weren't
Brandon
appointed.
is on his
Oh my God,
way.
that's why I was like.
Oh, sweet.
Here soon, so we'll have her too.
Brandon,
Yeah.
can you let us?
Brandon's lost.
He's coming upstairs.
Is Brian?
He was in the lecture at one.
Oh, but, oh, okay.
Him just sitting in a lecture.
Sitting in the lecture, he thought that was student government. I was like, Brandon, like.
One down. One to go. Maybe for not paying.
Calling people for this used to be a wild thing. We just had like a. rule.
I'm
We
done.
literally just call people.
That's crazy. So much work to do right now.
Did you like run?
Yeah.
Like upstairs?
Yeah, I wanna go.
I'll just sped walk. I love you, dude.
Bro, it's like hot out here today too.
R-E-I-R. No, my.
You want me to get it for you? I'll get it for you. I don't think mine's up there. Oh, wait, no, he doesn't.
Why did Kevin still not make?
When he feels like it. Oh.
All the way out there? Was it? Where? Wait, where's?
God.
It's supposed to be
Left and right.
It's just the process of getting them on and off of a bus.
Alright.
I was like, excuse me.
What was that? She's not gonna be here. Okay, thank you.
Actually, it's a peer program.
I'm so excited for when you get your.
I literally need to get one.
There's gonna be so fun.
Call them out. I'd be like.
I wanna buy my next paycheck.
Thank you.
I'm literally.
You said I'm gonna invest.
I'm literally gonna invest.
Train tracks and a bus depot. They don't know that they're coming. And instead of getting on.
Thank you.
Radio, hey guys, when we stop at train tracks, you have to be quiet so I can hear for a night. We just tried, he said quiet, he said it. in the video. So they can't hear him.
Oh, no, it's. Oh, but she probably is.
It's just so much things going on. I'm so stressed. I'm assignments after assignments. It's just so hard.
Have you had midterm yet?
Yeah, I just had one. But that was like the last week.
I had a midterm like last week.
Yeah.
I had a test for my growth and development class.
Amy goes, what are the train tracks? My students, I like sitting there. I will fight this as your driver. No way you're yelling at my kids for an expectation that nobody said we got, because we didn't tell him he needed to be quiet either, because we didn't do.
No, I gave him one. I just didn't know what his was.
I just didn't really think about it. It's not something to think about. Look, I'll even show you the cute little presentation I have. Nowhere on there. I like train tracks, because I didn't think we were gonna be bad at train tracks.
Wait.
Be my homies.
There's 8.
Wait, if you're, oh, there's 8? Oh, man. I wish I could start. Extra one. Where's Brandon?
Okay, Brandon.
They should.
It's just have been new, but like.
Oh.
Like a bus.
We just need one more person.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and Gabby's on her way, so we guaranteed have one more person as long as none of you leave.
She just went through onboard, so.
Oh, okay.
Do we?
So how's everyone being?
Split in
Yeah.
half like mitosis and that'll be.
Nate, did you make that document for?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Mitosis when they split.
Sorry.
Did I say?
Did you already confirm that we're gonna have them that Thursday? Like you booked it?
No, I haven't booked it because they need, they wanna know just catering event size, like that sort of detail,
Okay.
and that's why I wanted to work out what food we wanted to do.
I'm gonna do Ivy, but I
Cause
didn't
that's
wanna
one of
place
their
it.
listed caterers, right?
Yeah, it is, sorry, I was, and they have like charcuterie and like. Yada yada for not super expensive. I just didn't know how to place an order with them or start to get an estimate for their catering, cause I didn't know if there's special instructions that the venue sends.
Okay.
Now that we know that we're doing that, you can say that to them, we can get it booked, and then on my end, I can do the.
The
IB
catering, so
shenanigans.
you can do the catering, that's perfect.
Yeah, cause I have
Alright.
spring break next week, so I'll have some time that I'm
Yeah.
figuring out how to teach people fractions. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll be like super not available next week, so like.
And I will be, the most available I will be until we graduate, so.
So I'll CC you on the email chains with them, just so you can take over if need be, and Kevin, I'll CC you also,
Sweet.
and Drew also, just so we're all.
Everyone's getting the CC.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Galway?
Yeah, so we'll do the.
Next Thursday.
Why can't I?
Do Thursday, May 1st.
Yeah, we'll do that one because on
Wait,
Thursday it's
Yeah, this May.
really quite cheap for 4 hours, like it's really not bad at all.
And there's not gonna be.
So we'll have half an hour before and after for setup and 3 hours for the event, and then we'll tell them that we're gonna use their
Yeah.
caterer
Yeah,
for
I think that's
ID,
what
and then
we-
we'll
Hey.
figure out the catering.
Yeah.
But it won't be a full meal because that would
Because
be
not-
too costly.
We said it's sworn in on the third.
So,
So that will be a Thursday, May 1st.
No, it's not.
April, so then this is May, right down here.
Yeah, but she sent it to us.
Oh, yeah. Third. Well, what's the business?
it's gotten worse the longer that I've
Then
been
this
doing,
last
because I've
one.
started
We might
to,
make
like,
them both.
more and
We
more
might-
just like
second.
internally be
Yeah.
monologuing in Spanish.
Do that, if we have.
That's how I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And so then I'll try to talk to someone and it's absolutely not the right language. I did it to the poor person at Dunkin' Donuts the other day where I started talking to them fully in Spanish.
Special.
And they really nervously were trying to help me and I went, I'm so sorry, I don't know what she's.
Almost.
Say all three in Spanish.
New business,
It's like, wait. Oh.
Hannah,
Yeah. Wait.
oh, okay. Hey, cool. I just got to ask.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Student Senate is now called to order for the Student Senate Business Meeting, March 13th at 7:13 PM. And CPAX 222. Chief of Staff Ostick will be doing roll call.
All right, Regent Avinam. Vice President Ramirez.
Here.
Director of DEI Gwen.
Here.
Director of Finance Lacey.
Here.
Director of Leadership Development Lasso. Director of Marketing Mai.
Here.
Director of Recruitment Hammond.
Here.
Coordinator of Student Wellness Irizarry Gums.
Here.
Senator El Roxy. Senator Normie. Senator Jimenez Avalos.
Here.
Senator Calderon Palacios. Senator Benitez. Senator Brady.
Here.
Senator Gomez. Senator Hirschbaum Harding.
Here.
Senator Ringel.
Here.
Senator Wong. Senator Rye.
Here.
Senator Valderas. Senator Piper. Senator Martin.
Here.
Senator Lopez.
Here.
Senator Meister.
here.
Senator Gomez Rascon. Senator Lopez Pereira.
Here.
Ambassador El Rafay. Ambassador Aishan. All right, that it concludes roll call.
Our first item of business is reading and approval of the old minutes. Is there any suggestions to the old minutes for February 27th? If there's no discussion on the previous minutes, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please say aye.
I.
And then all those opposed, say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the previous minutes has been approved. And then our next item of business is the approval of the agenda. Is there any discussion on the agenda? Senator Meister,
Motion to add into new business formulation of an ad hoc committee for establishing a policy index amendment to create a scope of practice for director of finance. You don't need to write all that, but we just create an ad hoc committee. I'll chair. I'd like to motion to have this considered a new business and discuss with the team.
is there a motion to add the special ad hoc committee under new business? Senator Brady, is there a second?
Yes.
You have the second. Is there any discussion on the motion? If there's no discussion, the chair is seeking unanimous consent to adopt the motion. Is there any dissent? In the opinion of the chair, the motion has been adopted. Is there any discussion on the agenda? Senator Rye,
I motion to amend the names for sponsorship and certification review for UPFF fund day allocation. The sponsorship was done by Senator Gomez and the certification review was completed by me.
oh, okay. Is there a second to change the sponsor, Senator Gomez, and then certificate of review by Senator Rye? Seconded by Senator Rangel. And then is there, now we're on to pure discussion on the motion. Is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, this chair is seeking unanimous consent to change the sponsor and the certificate of review to reflect the actual resolution. Is there any dissent? In the opinion of the chair, the motion has been adopted. Senator Gomez, and then Senator Rye. Is there any further discussion on the approval of the agenda? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And then all those opposed, say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the agenda has been adopted. Our next item of business is open forum. Is there anyone here for open forum? Senator Ryan?
Can I just sit here and?
Yes.
Okay. I guess I just wanted to address something that frustrated me. So I saw the flyer for the Rally for Our Resources with SGA listed listed as the organizing body. And I guess this was the first time that I heard about our involvement. If SGA was truly backing or it was the one organizing this event, I believe it should have gone through Senate as a resolution. That's a process and that's what ensures transparency and accountability. And I guess that just frustrated me because how can we represent an organization when we don't know what's going on within it? And I guess I can't speak for all their senators, neither can I speak for the directors, but I'm sure there's some level of frustration present in there as well. And I guess I just want to make it clear that my frustration isn't about the rally itself. It's about the fact that an authoritative decision was made on behalf of all of us and bypassing the whole Senate process entirely was just wrong to me. And if we want to serve students effectively, we really need to work together as one organization and not act independently. And I guess with the 2 months we have left in this term, I guess, I ask that we just follow the process because at the end of the day, we all want the same thing and it's to serve the students. And that just requires us working together as a team.
Thank you, Senator Wright, for speaking in open forum. Is there anyone else here for open forum? I will like to be transparent too. I was also upset with with the collaboration of UNO, SGA, and WGEC, especially since it's mentioned in the policy index that it requires Senate's approval. However, speaking with Regent Adidam and Chief of Staff Ostick, I submitted a court case to WGEC, but I'm planning on appealing that just because it wasn't on behalf of WGEC. So I just want to be transparent with you guys. So I will be appealing that student court case. Because I just found out more information about the collaboration between UNO Student Government Association and WGEC. Regent Adidam?
Also, adding on to that, being truly there was some executive oversight in making that decision, and because of that, we decided to archive the post when making the decision on behalf of the SGA and to see the SGA. And if posts are made on behalf of SGA exec or on behalf of the
Is there anyone else here for open forum? In the opinion of the chair, open forum has been closed. Our next item of business is the guest speaker. For our guest speaker today is from Keep Omaha Beautiful. Please welcome Pearl.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm gonna take a second while we do technical things. More tech savvy than me that knows how to make my computer show up here.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So you plug in and then you go to source,
Amazing. Okay. Okay, perfect. Well, to get started, has anyone here heard of Keep Omaha Beautiful or maybe volunteered with us before by show of hands? Okay, a couple. Well, it's nice to see you again. But for those of you who haven't heard of Keep Omaha Beautiful or haven't volunteered with us before, welcome. We're so excited. I'm so excited to get to speak to you today. I was actually a student senator at my university, so my heart is open for you guys, and it's clear that you guys care about your students. And so I hope that today is going to be really informative and helpful for getting students involved in the community here in Omaha as well. So with that, my name is Pearl. As mentioned, I'm the Volunteer and Community Engagement Manager for Keep Omaha Beautiful. So if you have any questions today about how you can get involved, specific questions about specific groups, anything that catches your eye, feel free to reach out to me after or during. That being said, it's almost spring break. I know you are all so tired of lectures by now. If you're not, then that's great for you. I was tired. And so as we go through, if you have any questions, if you want to talk about specifics, please go ahead and blurt out. No need to raise your hands. And this can be more of a discussion today. But with that, I'll just give a brief history of Keep Omaha Beautiful and go over some high-level things before we have more of a discussion. So what is Keep Omaha Beautiful and how long have we been here? Well, Keep Omaha Beautiful has been here since 1959. We are one of the oldest environmental nonprofits in Nebraska, which is huge and a great honor that we've had. We started as the City Beautification Unlimited and since got a more catchy, easy to remember name for Keep Omaha Beautiful. But our mission has really stayed the same. We really are concerned about our urban ecosystem and maintaining it and keeping it healthy and creating a healthier urban ecosystem. We work to foster environmental and community stewardship through education, service, and advocacy. You'll hear me talk a lot about the service aspect, but there is the education and advocacy piece that we do as well. So if that piques your interest, then great. I'd love to talk about that more at a different time as well. Our core programs that I'll talk a bit more about here in a minute really do contribute to a healthy urban ecosystem here in Omaha. And if you want to learn more about the specific numbers, you are welcome to visit our website. We have all of our annual reports there as well. So with that, I'll go ahead and talk about our program pillars. So we have 4 main program pillars and a whole lot of sub pillars under them for our programming. So environmental education, waste reduction, recycling, pollution prevention, and tree canopy improvements are our core 4. So everything that we do really falls under here. We're small but mighty. So we have 6 full-time staff, 3 part-time, but we work with over 5,000 volunteers every year, and we provide education to over 10,000 youth and adults annually. And that's not to say that our team is the one doing it. It's actually folks like you and individuals interested in the community and improving our urban ecosystem that is doing this work and why we can do it. We actively engage with our community and encourage everyone to be a part of it, no matter the age, no matter the ability. We really want to get everyone involved in the health of our urban ecosystem. You'll hear me say urban ecosystem 150 times today. Really what that means is how we as individuals that are living in an urban setting can also incorporate nature and make sure that humans, our environment, and everything within it is healthy. So first, environmental education. So we offer a wide array. We offer school-based educational programming for K through 12. We also offer in-class and outside in the outdoors. That's our favorite place to be. We also do summer enrichment programs, after-school programming. Everything that we teach is STEM focused. So science, technology, engineering, and math. So it all falls under that. And then we also provide training and coaching to educators in the community as well to be able to educate their own classrooms. So we don't do everything with staff hands-on. We like to distribute the education. We also have education kits that are free for our community. So I don't know if any of you are in like the College of Education or in any of those things. But if you're student teaching, know that your students would love that access and those resources just to get a grasp and understanding of some environmental education, what that might look like. It's totally free to check those out. So that is a resource for your students as well. Waste reduction and recycling. So we do have a recycling and reuse guide that is on our website, free to use. That goes over high level what's happening in Omaha as things change, as recycling markets change. We do update that. And then has anyone used the Omaha Recycling guide.org before? One person? Excellent. Okay, you can be the pro for everybody else. This is great. And so what it is, if you use any smart device and you go onto that website, you can type in any product that you might be in a disagreement with a friend over, that you're not sure if it's actually recyclable, or you don't want to wish cycle. For example, pizza boxes, I don't know if you knew this, but once they've been frozen, are not recyclable. That blew my mind. I didn't know that either, but it's all in here, all in that omaharecyclingguide.org. We also do public education and advocacy. So through campaigning, you might have seen some of our billboards. We're also in schools, as mentioned before, and through our advocacy work throughout the city, excuse me. And then we also have Leave It on the Lawn campaigns. So as we get into spring, summer, fall, we go over different sorts of pollution. A lot of times people think that's litter, but that can also be things that are naturally occurring that happen in large amounts being in an urban setting.
What would that be like?
Yeah, so for example, everyone mows their lawn, right? When you get a whole bunch of grass that could naturally occur, typically our lawns are not the natural grasses that we have. Altogether, we have fertilizers and we have nitrates that are more abundant than it would naturally be. And that's all going down into our storm drains, and that's causing nutrient pollution for our environment, our flora and fauna, and that can actually cause some serious impacts downriver as well. So yeah, so simple things like grass that no one really thinks about because it seems like a natural space, you know, that can cause it too. But things like leaves and other things that you might find on your lawn. So pollution prevention. So this is where in the organization I live typically. So I'm most passionate about it. pollution prevention is so important. Not only is retroactive work important, but so is proactive. And so when we look at our 4 kind of key areas, please just note that there are so many ways to tap into these 4 key areas. If you didn't know, Nebraska is a state known for its water resources, with 70% of the Ogallala Aquifer actually falling under state lines, like the state of Nebraska, and we have 80,000 miles of river. So even though we are very landlocked, and some of you, if you're from the ocean area, you probably understand that we're very landlocked, we are very connected to the ocean through our rivers. So even though you might think that the litter is going to stay within, the continental US, actually, once that litter reaches our waterways, it's very likely that it's going to continue to go downstream and could potentially, and even so, make it to the ocean. So we do contribute a lot to our downstream communities and environment, and that's why it's so important to do what we can by reducing pollution and preventing it. So we do help educate residents in our urban areas about actions they can take, but really my favorite part is the service personally. So litter cleanups, what is a litter cleanup? That's literally going out and finding litter and picking it up. That can be anywhere in public spaces, so parks, trails, streams around your university, the neighborhoods that you live in, near your storm drains. That is all litter cleanups. We offer a wide variety of programs for it. Adopt a Spot is picking a spot and going there at least once a month and cleaning it up, being the eyes and ears of the location to make sure that that pollution is being taken care of. Storm drains. A lot of people don't know that storm drains don't actually have a filter. So if someone dumps motor oil down a storm drain, or you get an excess of that grass, there's nothing that's going to catch that. That goes directly into our waterways. And so it's really important that we look out for those storm drains, and when all that litter gets congested, when some of that nutrient pollution potential gets congested there, that gets taken care of. We also do firework cleanup. So the Star Spangled Cleanup is something that happens around the 4th of July. You might be on summer break, so not here, but you're all welcome to attend that as well. That's one of our many Keep Omaha Beautiful led cleanups. And then our Healthy Waterways education. So I don't know if any of you have seen that little thing on storm drains throughout the city, but that's part of our programming. And that is an educational aspect that we do to really try to get across that there is no filter, that what you're putting down the drains really is leading to local waterways. So in addition to those markers being put on drains, we also have door hangers that explain what is a problem when it goes into the storm drain, why dumping is bad, and what to look out for to help the urban ecosystem as well. And then finally, we have special events and litter analysis. So our special events, those are really fun. It's great for student organizations to get involved as a team as well. Some of those might be our community cleanup that's happening on March 29th at Seymour. That is a community cleanup where we're going to have refreshments, music. It's a celebration of everyone working together to help our community. There's also World of Water, which is all about water. We have tons of vendors, tons of different organizations like the EPA. We have some scuba divers that come and talk about the importance of water with some kiddos. Last year, I think we had over 1,200 participants show up, and it was a great time. So you can always get involved in education with that. And then we have a lot throughout the year. And then litter analysis. So this is new for this year, but it's a great project if anyone's interested or know of student groups that might be. But one of the questions that we are really trying to tackle is, why is there litter in the first place, right? So we can go out and we can pick it up, we can do retroactive work, which in turn will have some preventative measures. If your neighbor sees you picking up after them, they're statistically less likely to litter in the future. But what is the behavior change that we can actually have? So where we're at is on phase 1, which is data collection. So we're taking all of the data from all of the hundreds of litter cleanups that we've done last year. And we're also taking data from other community organizations and compiling it into a story. On top of that, this year, we're trying to get that story to be broadened through volunteers and individuals like you who would be willing to go out to specific locations and report back on the litter that you're seeing. This does a couple of different things. 1, it tells us if there really is litter throughout the city of Omaha. 2, what the litter is. If it's all pop cans, for example, can we put a solution in place to help the behavior change from littering the pop cans to actually disposing of it correctly. Is there a hotspot in Omaha that we can dig deeper in and find these behavior instances and try to change them in a positive way, right? So that is something that is currently happening that we would love to have college students be involved in. It's a great opportunity, and I'll have more information on that as well if you want to reach out to me when that is happening. And then our last one is tree canopy improvements. Everyone loves trees. And so we do have a couple programs for under our Trees for Tomorrow. We have school programming where we do educational about the trees. We also help students plant it at their very own school. We plant in public spaces and have planting priorities. And then we do community engagement opportunities as well through an event called Teas and Trees. So trees do provide an amazing array of benefits to our community and the environment. Every year, Keep Omaha Beautiful plants hundreds of new trees in public spaces via our tree canopy improvement project. Not only are trees really great to look at and they provide shade, but they're also really important for human health. So things like asthma and other societal benefits come from trees. And so we are being a part of that initiative. We do plant diverse stock of native trees in priority areas throughout Omaha, and we try to strengthen our tree canopy's resilience for future pests and environmental changes. So there's a lot that goes into every tree planting. There is one volunteer planting a year, and when that gets made public, it is on our website as well. Our programs focus on targeted planting plans in public spaces such as parks, trees, and right-of-ways to improve our community's green spaces. Okay, so with that, that's a whole lot of information that I just kind of gave to you. But I would love to know if there's any way that Keep Omaha Beautiful can answer any questions, or if there's anything in there that maybe seemed interesting, you'd like to learn more about any of our programming and have more of a discussion. If you're interested. I also brought magnets and stickers because I love stickers. And then I also have some brochures as well. If you wanted to take one of those, it has our contact information on it. Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit more about like the volunteer opportunities? So like,
yes.
And like how you just sign up on your website? Is there like something every day, or how like you guys work with that?
I love that question. So let's see if it will pop up here, but I can actually show you our website, and we do have volunteer opportunities every single day because 98%, I would say, that's not a real figure, it's based off of my perception of the year, are self-led. It means that, thank you. It means that you can volunteer on a day at a time and with what's most convenient for you. So for example, with litter cleanups, all you do is you go online and you sign up for a date or a location that works best for you, and our system actually helps. Thank you so much. Let's see if it, there we go. Okay, so yes, so you sign up for a time and it will match you with a location or with a date for the location. So for example, if transportation might be an issue for some of your students, you can choose Elmwood or Memorial Park or around the surrounding neighborhoods. All it requires is a volunteer leader to either come in our office or coordinate with me via email, and we supply all the supplies. Trash bags, recycling, hefty, litter grabbers, gloves, vests if you need them, first aid, we got it all. And we try to help you coordinate for what is most convenient for you, which means you can do it on a Saturday at 7 if you really want to. You could do it right after school. Yeah, we try to make it as accessible.
So if you wanted to do like more like a joint kind of thing, would you like sign up individually, or like you can just do like a group sign up?
You can just do a group sign up. Yep. And then whoever signs up will be like the point person. So you'll get an email that you distribute to everybody. And you can even change who that is throughout. Yeah, but that's true for our litter cleanups. We also have that Adopt a Spot. Our stormwaters, that's going to be that disc on storm drain marking. We also have in-office volunteers if you love photography, have GIS, woodworking even. We have a whole host that's available there. And then our event volunteers. I love events. They're really fun. That you can sign up as a group for too. Other questions or thoughts? Okay, Excellent. Well, if you have any other questions or you want to reach out, feel free. I am always around, and thank you so much for letting me talk to you about this today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
So our next item of business is unfinished business, but since there's no unfinished business, now there's on to new business. Our first item of new business is the motion to have a special ad hoc committee of student senate. Is there proponents? There is. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Hi, folks. Can everyone hear me okay? Awesome. So Senator Meister here. This is a process we don't use too often, but it's one that I wanted to bring to the Senate for your recommendation and approval. If you do decide to approve, it will just require a motion from a member of the body following my proponent's speech, and it would need simple majority. Essentially, what I'm asking is to create an ad hoc committee that I would chair. We would have 4 representatives from the Executive Council, the 6 agency directors, 3 members of Senate, myself and 2 other senators that we'd identify. We'd develop an internal operating procedure for the ad hoc committee. And the goal is essentially to create a scope of practice for the Director of Finance to guide future years of financial guidance for the agencies, for student government itself, to provide training, support, logistical, and operational support to all parts of student government, as well as Maverick Productions and the Gateway if they should request additional financial support. The goal would be to help the Director of Finance have a more semi-structured level of guidance that would inform any of their activities on a year-to-year basis beyond what's encompassed in the bylaws. We've gotten some feedback from agencies that they feel like it would be beneficial to have additional education or more structured and I guess like segmented, calendared feedback from the Director of Finance regarding their budgets. And so this would help us to create a proposal that would be collectively created by all the folks that would be represented by the Director of Finance's actions if a policy were to be created, to ensure that we could really move into future years collectively together with a process that works for all of us. So my ask is that you would provide me with the opportunity to create this committee together. From there, the IOP would then be pushed forward by executive memorandum, and the goal would be to hopefully create some kind of outcome by the end of the year. Any questions? Go for it.
I'm assuming, will all the agency directors have to attend the meetings, and how frequently?
Yeah.
Are those meetings?
2 meetings. And they would have the option to attend. They'd all have voting power. They could send a representative if they wish to. That'll all be detailed out in the IOPs. But the ask would be to create the committee and to provide them voting participation in it. It's a process that we need to do. We need to create the policy index amendment regardless, but we want to make sure that the agency directors can be on the committee, that they can vote on the committee, that they can speak on the committee and participate in a way that's meaningful. And we'd schedule around everyone's schedules. So we'd likely use a Calendly invite to make sure that everybody could have the opportunity to contribute to when the schedule would work for them. A single individual meeting would be scheduled initially to create goals, objectives, and tasks for the coalition. Committee chair and probably 3 others would, from those goals, objectives, and tasks identified by the larger group, create an initial proposal that would come back to the group for one more meeting. They'd review it, refine it, adapt it. It'd be a finalized policy, and then we'd push that to the Senate.
Thank you.
And so it should be pretty relatively simplistic. I can share that personally, I've written policy for student government for a total of 5 years. I wrote a lot of our initial financial policies. It's something that I think I could put together pretty quickly. I've gotten a lot of wonderful feedback from several directors on things they'd like to see in that type of policy. We take all of that, integrate it together into one place, quickly refine, give like a period of time for refinement to happen so that we're not interrupting class schedules or other responsibilities of the directors, and then pitch it to the Senate for a vote. Any other questions?
Quick question. So depending on what the outcome of the committee is, if it's a policy amendment, will it still go to rules committee as it's currently stated?
Essentially, what it would be is it would be a proposal for modification of the policy index. Whatever our current proposal is for consideration of, it would be a resolution. But it would likely be vetted by this committee. If you'd like rules committee to go over it again, that'd be totally valid. Be more than willing to engage in like a collaborative review process. I don't think there's any hard parameters. Most of the focal point of this group is really just focusing on the empowerment of agency participation and making sure that if we're talking about something that's going to impact their groups, particularly with the complexities of this year financially, that we're really integrating them into that process of collaborative co-creation for the policy. So. Any other questions? Happy to answer, happy to get critical feedback, anything you got. Solid, thanks.
So Senator Meister has made a motion to add the special ad hoc committee. Does it require a second?
It would require a second. The note also, just for acknowledgement, would be that I'd be chairing. So it'd be a creation of an ad hoc committee with me as chair. And then we develop the IOP and it come through executive memorandum approved by Sean.
So is there a second? Seconded by Senator Rye. And then Senator Hirschman Harding.
It was just offering, just in case Senator Rye beat me to it.
So seconded by Senator Rye. Now we're on to a period discussion on the motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? If there's no further discussion, now the Senate is now on to period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. You got it. Yeah. Okay, and then all those opposed saying, all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted. Just going to.
Then on to the next one.
Yeah, okay. The next item of business is the appointment of co-director for Network for Disability Awareness, Ella Stephanie. Is there a proponent speech?
Hello, I'm Ella Stephens. I've been working as the interim director for the Network for Disability Awareness Agency for the past couple of months. I'm here to become the new co-director. I have been working pretty hard to get NDA up and running. NDA now has a board, which is currently 3 members strong. We have our first event upcoming in March, on March 31st, which is Make a Blanket Day. We are getting involved in the student CCRT as well as looking to make campus more accessible through education. We did a presentation to the Biomechanics United Club about NDA and accessibility on campus. So I feel like we've been doing great work and I would just like to continue that work. It's okay.
Phone's charging.
Oh,
There. So if I move the whiteboard, maybe it'll make things better.
now we're on to a period discussion on the candidate. Senator Hirschman Harding.
I think Dr. Steffens has done a really great job so far working as an interim director. I mean, it's impressive to step into that role on short notice in the first place, but they've also been putting a lot of effort into actually doing justice to this. I mean, you know, all of our agencies just had to go through the whole SABC process, so anyone who can do that and still want to keep going is impressive in my book. It's a long and arduous process, and so I think that there's a lot of dedication shown there, and so far, I've heard only good things about Ella's work as interim director.
Is there any further discussion? Director of Diversity, Equity and Inclusion. When?
Ella has been doing lots of great work. When she first stepped into the interim directorship, she was like on top of everything. She mentioned she formed a board with 3 members. That was a quick turnaround. I think she recruited all the members like within 2 weeks after spring semester started. And so now NDA is getting more exposure. I know they're utilizing the social media more. They're planning more events. And so Ella's getting really situated with SGA and she's really passionate about NDA and SGA in general.
Regent Adidam.
Just bouncing off on that, I think she's done a really great job in terms of like getting NDA really developed and like action oriented this past semester, especially as a freshman. She's figured out how to leverage SGA and specifically like NDA to ensure that like there is awareness about this agency on campus. And considering that she's only been in the role for 3 months, she has essentially laid a lot of very imperative groundwork and essentially did the entire SABC budget proposal by herself, obviously with help from Teresa and Drew, but just her ability to really or look at things through like a solution oriented mindset is a true testament to like her ability to lead.
Is there any further discussion on our candidate? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. And then to appoint an agency director, it requires a 2/3 majority vote. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, Ella has been appointed as co-director for NDA. Our next item of business is SR 24-25-020, Bat Box proposal. Is there a proponent speech?
Yes, we have a presentation.
Oh, yes.
Everybody, we are here representing the UNO Conservation Society. We're a club here on campus focused on conservation, so connecting like-minded people and educating ourselves and others on conservation related topics. Us specifically, I'm Jenna Miller. I'm the former president of the club.
And then I'm Morgan McAndrew, and I'm the current vice president.
I'm Kayla Wyckoff and I'm the current president.
And so our club is currently trying to bring a bat box here to campus. So you guys might be wondering what a bat box is. So it's a man-made shelter for bats. It creates more habitat space for them. So in urban areas, it can be a little difficult for bats and other animals to find places to live. So there are different kinds of shelters and different sizes for bat boxes, but this is what it looks like inside of the bat box. So they just squeeze right in there. And here's a picture of what bat boxes look like on the outside. So we would want to bring a bat box kind of similar to the farthest picture on the right. It's going to be on a pole, but we're looking to do like a box type shape. These bat boxes are about 10 to 20 feet up in the air, so they're suspended by a beam with a box on top. To bring a bat box here on campus, that would require us to dig a hole in the ground to put the pole in and then pour some cement in. So that hole would be about like a foot or so deep. I guess I should also bring up, we initially thought that we needed your approval to put this bat box in place, but it looks like that we're gonna have to reach out to Noah Long, so we're here to ask for your support today. Some more pictures of what bat boxes look like. One last thing, so when we first decided to do this project as a club, we reached out to Dr. Han Lee. He's a professor and bat biologist here on campus. So he gave us some advice on how to tackle this project. He gave us a gadget that hooks up to our phone and detects bats. So we went out during dusk multiple days last semester, and we did find that there are bats here on campus. They're mainly located closer to the park. So we're gonna talk more about our proposed location. So our findings on where the bats are located has influenced where that location is. We are unsure how many bats there are in the area. That would take a lot of research to figure out. Some bats do migrate as well, so the population fluctuates throughout time.
Yeah, so some benefits of bats to the UNO campus are they eliminate large amount of bugs like mosquitoes and beetles. And this helps alleviate annoyances caused to UNO students due to these bugs. And then also helps protect plants from insect attacks. And then certain bats pollinate plants and spread seeds, contributing and building onto UNO's plant population. And then bat waste is also great fertilizer for plants. So for the funding for this project, it's all coming from the Audubon Society of Omaha. They are a nonprofit organization that is committed to raising environmental conservation awareness through education. So our location we're wanting to put the box is kind of behind H&K, between like the area of the four-way stop near Elmwood and like the back of the building. And we chose this location because it has open space next to the park habitat. And then it is near observed bat sightings, and people at the park can see it as a learning opportunity. And then the timing, bat houses are best installed in spring before hibernation ends and migrating bats return. Due to Nebraska's weather and temperature, the temperature needed to for the cement to set is around 50 degrees. So mid to late April would be the best time for the bat box to be installed.
And here is our bat box that we picked out. It's a kit, so it comes with a 16-foot pole. And then the dimensions of this box are 5 inches deep, 23 inches tall, and 13 inches wide. So it isn't like a large box, but it can house up to 250 bats. So, and then the maintenance is very minimal. It would consist of like an annual looking at it and seeing if it needs repairs or resealing, repainting, and then cleaning out guano, which is like bat droppings basically. And then the UNO Conservation Society would be in charge of that, doing that once a year, usually in late fall. And then environmental education. So this would be a great way for UNO students and staff to learn more about bats, why they're important and why we want a bat box on campus. So we had an idea of putting like a garden plaque next to the bat box or underneath it, just with some information. So if anyone's curious, so what the heck is this thing on this pole right here, they can go to the plaque and look at it. So yeah, and then we just want to thank you guys for listening to our presentation.
Questions?
Yes.
First of all, obsessed. Just very excited about the whole concept. I figure there isn't, just because it's already been approved from people who know a lot more about bats than I do. But just because I know that it might be a question that we get to, is there any kind of like health or safety risk associated with having like a specific place for bats to rest near campus? I figure there wouldn't be any more than the fact that they already exist here naturally because this is their home, but like, just in case we get questions about it, is there any ever like risk associated with putting it close to like the buildings? Does it confuse the bats? Does it pose any risk to the humans? Like, just cause I don't know anything about bat science,
Yeah, I
what's
think
that like?
as long as you do like the annual, like looking at it and cleaning it out, cause the bats do typically like migrate for the winter or they find a new home, cause usually it's just used in the summer for females when they're breeding or raising their young. So as long as you like clean it out in the fall once a year, you're not really growing any bacteria there, and I'm not really sure about like their health issues with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's not something, I'll be honest, not something we specifically looked into. I'm sure if bats get diseases, it could show up in their droppings, so that's something that we can look more into, and if that is a risk that we could be putting students at, that's something that we can monitor and clean up.
I figure if the bat expert didn't mention it, then it probably isn't a worry, but yeah.
And a question would be, if there were any such risk or something like that, could there be like a brief mention of it on the sign, like please don't stick hands in bat box, or like a QR code to learn more about the bat box? Like that could be a fun way for education on the sign.
Yeah.
Just being able to, yeah, like connect to your either a website or a page where you can have like bat facts, and then at the top it's like, don't stick your hand in it, please.
Yeah, we definitely would put something on there, like, please don't shake this pole or don't try and climb it or anything.
Be pretty nasty if they got like bat drops.
So I get it.
Right under.
Is there like a way for you guys to put up like a camera to monitor the bats, you know, like one of those night cameras? That way you could use it for like educational purposes?
That is something that we talked about, and it might be in our budget to do so. In order to do that, we would need to know the exact location of where we would put it within that area, and then if there's like a tree nearby, we could prop up a trail cam. So that is a potential.
Are there any opportunities for like, I know we have like the bat biology spectrum on campus, is there opportunities for students to like do like service learning activities with the bat box, but like just educational awareness on biology?
Yeah, I think like at least before we build the project, we can have like meetings and things, just educating students on the bat box. And then of course we can get like volunteers to help out, put it up, and that would be a good educational experience.
Is there any further questions?
Thank you.
Thanks. Every time. Thank you. Now we're on to the discussion on our resolution. Is there any discussion on the resolution? Why?
First of all, just thank you for doing this. I know this is the last thing you want to do at 8 o'clock, especially before going to spring break. So thank you for coming. I guess the one thing I do want to state is that with SJ's ability to grant the Conservation Society the permission they need, I guess I would like to motion to make amendments to the second, therefore be, yes, the second to last, therefore, or to the first, therefore be resolved. To say something like UNOSGA will support the UNO Conservation Society.
In seeking.
Yeah. Will support the society in the process of placing a bat box or something like that. But yeah, we'll.
In seeking permission?
Yes, thank you, yeah.
I know what I'm done.
Yeah.
So is there a second on the motion? Senator Hirschbaum Harding, seconded. And then now we're on to a period of discussion on the motion. Regent Adida,
Possible to maybe do like, cause you all as a Senate are able to grant like student body support, would that be more impactful to do versus like just SGA support?
Yeah.
Senator Hirschbaum Harding,
Would we need to make a just point of clarification, since we're still in the, would I need a motion to amend the motion since we're using different verbiage, or since you haven't been sent the verbiage, can we just pretend that we said student body?
You could withdraw the motion. Kevin, the chair, could say, let's do that, and if, ask for unanimous consent, change it.
let's withdraw the motion. And I am seeking, the chair is seeking unanimous consent to withdraw the motion. Is there any dissent? In the opinion of the chair, the motion is withdrawn. Then, yes, Senator Hirschbaum Harding.
But I'm seeking a motion to change this, the first, therefore be it resolved. To UNO SGA provides student body support for the UNO Conservation Society to seek permission to place, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Is there a second? Senator Ryan. Now there's on a period of discussion on the motion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there any further discussion on the motion? And now the chair is okay, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9, and then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted. Once Senator Hirschbaum Harding has sent the text, is there any discussion on the motion? Senator Brady?
Honestly, I just wanna say I love this. I like the fact that they mentioned the whole bug thing because one too many times I've been attacked by the bugs on campus. And I hate walking to class. I hated walking to class and then just being attacked by some random beetle. It completely ruined my day. And I like the fact that they're utilizing something more friendly for the environment, such as bats, in comparison to like pesticides or anything along those lines. And I like the idea of this. And it's also multi-use, it's educational. Gets people more familiar with bats and that they're just weird creatures just kind of flying around at night. They're there for a reason, and I think it's just it's a killing multiple birds with one stone, and I like it. And I like the idea of it. I love it.
Is there any further discussion? Senator Hirschbaum Harding?
Frankly, I love bats. And I feel like it is also, just on like a more genuine note, an interesting thing for us to be able to say that we have on campus. It gives us something that we can work with, something that we can use as a learning opportunity, even if it's just being looked at from a distance by those not in the Conservation Society. I think that it is another addition to us moving in the right direction as a university for trying to be more sustainable and trying to be more aware of the space that we're in, especially as someone who is pretty connected to nature compared to a lot of college campuses because of our placement. So I think it's a good way to try and kind of acknowledge, like, the bats were kind of here way before we were, so we're just trying to make sure that they're comfortable and safe while on campus. Bats.
I'm gonna reiterate what they said. I think this opens up a pathway for a lot of education opportunities, and I think that's the biggest thing that stood out to me, and I'm just looking forward to seeing this project take hold, so.
Is there any further discussion on the resolution? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the resolution passes.
It's freaking best. I love Halloween.
I'm on
I was like, if that's me.
Our next item of business is SR 24-25-021 reserves policy update. Is there a proponent?
Yeah.
Yeah, all of it, it should be, it's the, like, it's like, all should be together. And the next one. This one? And the next one is peer review. That one. And then the next one is the red line.
Oh, sweet. I'll introduce it on here.
Down to it.
All right, perfect. Well, hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. This is the long-awaited resolution updating our reserves policy. I want to thank all of you who've contributed to this along the way. It's been great. So, as far as you all may be aware and can read there, student government was recently discovered to have a far larger reserves than we initially anticipated, and previous years anticipated. That is due to us absorbing student legal services reserves, which led to our reserves number going up from about $300,000 to well over $400,000. As a result of that, the audit last semester found that we were in excess of the maximum advisable amount for fee holders at the university, which that number right now for student government would be about $230,000. So we've been charged with coming up with a plan to spend down our reserves to ensure fiscal responsibility and really kind of give back to the student body. And so we really just kind of collaborated here to come up with a reserves policy that would be a lot easier to, a lot more accessible and would be able to be spent, because the policy as it currently stands does not actually allow us to access our reserves or to spend it for anything other than an emergency such as a shortfall or a natural disaster. So this resolution aims to update the policy index to create access so we can do resolutions and projects and fee reductions and everything else that we'd like to do with these funds. And so I would like to turn it over to Senator Meister to go into some of the specifics of that version. Would you mind starting?
So before we start, I just want you all to remember 3 words: safe, guard, and sentry. We're trying to use different types of acronyms within the course of the new policy to help make it more easy to engage with. Safe, guard, and sentry are going to be the 3 key terms that we need to remember. If I don't mention one of the 3 of them, feel free to call me out. So if we scroll down, the first one is SAFE, that is strategic allocation for fiscal efficiency. Essentially, this is talking about what is our policy for having a reserved container, what's its overview and limitations. This is very similar to what we've had previously. You'll see highlighted in blue if there is any need for specific articulation within the document of where we have color differentiation. If somebody can just call a point of order at any time, and I will point that out or highlight it in the document. But essentially, again, strategic allocation for fiscal efficiency is SAFE. It maintains pretty much consistent with what we had in the previous policy. It outlines what our reserve container is and then an overview of how we use it. As we go forward, there is a specific threshold of where we need to keep our reserves. As you heard Nate mention, we are not able to go over 50% of our previously allocated budget for a reserve container, otherwise we're out of compliance with the university policy. There's also a fiscally responsible recommendation that's in a lot of financial policies that runs at about 30%. So we've got this range of 30 to 50%. That's century, that's where we want to be. We don't want to have less than that, because if we have less than 30% of the previous year and we have some kind of catastrophic financial event, another pandemic, we have some kind of legal liability resulting from a lawsuit, We have something very significant, like a large program that absolutely needs to be funded because a significant service that's provided to students on campus was lost or deteriorated, or the office was defunded in some way, shape, or form. We need to provide that service now. We really need a large portion of our previously allocated budget in order to ensure that we could act with immediacy in order to meet that need. But also we can't go over 50% because then we're non-compliant with the university's policies, and we create a situation wherein we might be held to that non-compliance and potentially fund dollars in our management may be at stake. So we've created Century as the idea of no less than 30 and no more than 50. This is the area from the most recent fiscal year that we can have in our reserves. From there, it talks about when we can use Century and how Century is allocated and like what it's based on in terms of the numerical amount. If we scroll down, I think there's just a blank page. It kind of talks about when we can use Century. These specific sub-bullet points just talk about situations when it's appropriate, and also situations when it's appropriate to go beyond spending below 30. So there may be very specific situations when maybe the previous year we came out right at 30 and we need to spend down because specific things are happening. It gives student government specific situations when we might spend down below. And from there, we have Century surplus. Anything exceeding 50% of the previous year revenue collected through SABC shall be known as the surplus. Essentially, this means this is the money we absolutely need to spend. If we're $1 over 50%, we're non-compliant. So this money needs to be gone before we are at the end of a fiscal year from the previous year. We need to, with the executive council, find a way to spend that down with Senate approval. And so again, $1 over 50% and we're out of compliance. That's why we keep Century at a range of 30 to 50. 30 is responsible, 50 is the line. We want to stay in there. So as we go down, there's one more word, GUARD. This is governance for utilization and allocation of reserve dollars. This is a procedure that we already had articulated, but we're now using an acronym to have a little bit more of a conversation of when we're wanting to bring up spending the reserve, you're talking about GUARD. And so as we go down in the procedures, it kind of walks through how we need to spend the reserves. Speaking back to when this was created with the intention that anytime we'd be spending from the reserves, it's acknowledging that those reserve dollars were previously allocated during an SABC process for a very specific purpose. They are now rolled into a reserve and are no longer allocated funds. So they should go through a rigorous process of review, a presentation, a line item budget of why we want to be spending them, and that should be Senate approved. Those are the basic things that we ask our agencies to do. It's what we ask ourselves to do. It's what we should be responsible for doing if we're trying to take money from a previously allocated source. The rationale for that financially is if we didn't do that, we wouldn't be holding ourselves to the same accountability that we do the rest of the Fund Day organizations. And there could be potential where somebody could allocate a lot of funds year over year into a specific container, hoping that it will fold over into reserves and then spend it in a way that's inappropriate. So this helps us make sure that we're following the same protocols that we do for SABC with the funds. It's not as rigorous as it doesn't need to go through the same levels of approval, but it does require that we at least submit a proposal to the Student Senate at a business meeting that includes a presentation, again, articulating the reason we're spending it, articulating line by line what we want to spend, and then going from there to talk a little bit about what the impact of that will be on the student body and how it will benefit. This just kind of talks about, if you could scroll up a tiny bit, I'm so sorry. This is just kind of acknowledging that it will be under budget committee review, which was in our previous protocol. So each of these will come to the budget committee first and then come to the Senate. And then it's over. So again, SAFE, GUARD, Century. SAFE is talking about what our reserve container is. GUARD is talking about when we can spend it. Century is the threshold that we spend within. Thanks.
And we are happy to take questions.
Yeah.
In section 3, section 3, 3A, 3, 2, or 3A3, oh my gosh.
Is there an asterisk?
Yeah, what is the asterisk for?
It might have been an error. It was supposed to talk about the lapsed agency guidance.
Okay,
Asterisks.
You gotta do a control off at that point.
It's 3 asterisks if you want to search it.
I'm obsessed with you knowing that off the top.
There we go.
It should have said, that should have been, just the lapsed agency guidance. We might have sent, the most previous version. That was the only thing that was updated. We were trying to decide which protocol we were going to reference. It should be,
Something like.
you could also reference whichever one in the policy index that is. Should be.
It's right down here. It's supposed to be.
No, article.
The one after this. Permanent guidance. So we'll be requesting an amendment to correct that, provided. I think this one's a little bit weird because there's these blank pages here that I don't remember that being there, but.
Any additional questions? Question for the people asking questions. Are the acronyms okay? Is that
Yeah.
helpful? Yeah. Asterisk anymore?
Yeah, but well, just oh, because we need a motion to. So. You know.
Just give us a moment.
Any other questions? Sweet, thanks.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. I have an informal question. How long did it take y'all to make those acronyms? Like what was that process like? Cause those are some good acronyms.
And we met like for like 30 minutes after that, like
Yeah.
we just talked
This
about.
is like a 45-minute amendment to the policy.
That's crazy. Obsessed with it.
I just got down highly caffeinated and fixed everything.
You know what?
right.
Heck yeah. It was the coffee.
Yeah. No, I spent a long time cutting things before, and then Dalton really built it back up and did a really good job. So.
Cool.
Could we go on discussion the red line? Financial policy index and then the resolution.
So the resolution's under consideration. I think we just need the discussion plus an amendment. Yes. And then it would go into vote.
Is there any discussion on the resolution? Senator Ryan,
I make the motion to change those 3 asterisks to permanent guidance on lapsed agency financial support requests.
seconded by Senator Meister. Now, is there any discussion on the motion? Senator Meister,
Please, I can't write and we wrote it too fast.
and it's just like this, right? Just leaving it like that.
With a period.
Yeah.
Chief of Staff Ostick?
Yes, with the period.
With the period. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Senator Hirschman Hardy?
Is it just motion or on the? Never mind. Nope. There's no that.
It wasn't searched. That's why it's highlighted.
Oh, it's search.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect, thank you.
There you go.
Yep.
It takes, how many senators does it take?
How many senators does it take?
That would've been-
Five, guys, 5. It's okay.
Is there any further discussion on the motion before we go on to the period of voting? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards.
Oh, wait.
And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted. Senator Hirschbaum Harding.
I really like the changes that we have here. I think that they strike a really healthy balance between making this a more usable fund when necessary and also giving us good guidelines on what we're supposed to be doing and making sure that we're still being responsible with it. I know that that has been something that we have struggled with in the past when it comes to reserves is just the functionality of what can request it and then also what we're supposed to do if we start hitting that threshold. And so I think that this is taking a lot of expertise and striking a good balance between making sure that we're acknowledging where this money has come from and that we're not irresponsibly spending it just because it's lapsed into reserves, while also giving us the opportunity to actually use that money and not just have an unimaginable amount of money sitting there unusable to the students who already paid for it. So it's making sure that that money goes back to the students in a way that's responsible.
Is there any further discussion on the resolution? Senator Meister.
And just a gentle note for folks, if at any time there were an unforeseen circumstance that were not captured in this policy, it is in policy index. So it's possible to change, relatively easy comparative to a bylaw change. So again, it's not the end all be all, it won't be perfect. But hopefully this, again, will achieve what many of the senators have mentioned of accessibility, but responsible use of funds.
Is there any further discussion on the resolution? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the resolution passes. Our next item of business is SR 2425-022, UPFF Fund A allocations. That's Y 2025 and 2026. Is there a proponent speech?
Good evening, colleagues. Today, I present and advocate for the approval of the University Program and Facilities Fee Fund A allocation recommendations for the fiscal year 2025 through 2026. This resolution is the result of thorough analysis, collaboration, and a steadfast commitment to responsibly distributing student fees to enhance the university experience for all. Currently, our university enrollment stands at 23,857 students across fall, spring, and summer semesters. The UPFF fee, presently $30.11 per student, is vital to supporting organizations and initiatives that directly benefit our campus community. The Student Activities Budget Commission dedicated their expertise to reviewing funding requests and crafting informed recommendations for the coming fiscal year. The commission members, Maxine Fickenshire, Jeffrey Pasapara, Kat Koenig, Kona Fern, Litzy Morales, Nayakik Buwap, Aditi Rai, Dalton Meister, Brian Benitez, Cornelius Levering, Colton James, and Brittany Hewish brought diligence and care to this essential task. Let me share the key recommendations for the next fiscal year. Maverick Productions requested and was allocated $125,000. The Gateway requested and was allocated $130,935.12. Moving on to SGA's agencies, American Multicultural Students requested and was allocated $19,420.40. First Generation Student Agency requested and was allocated $17,282.40. International Student Services requested $25,212.80 and was allocated $20,000. Network for Disability Awareness requested and was allocated $10,586.40. Queer and Trans Services requested $16,810.40 and was allocated $17,500. Women and Gender Equity Center requested and was allocated $38,890.40. In total, SGA requested $551,546.80, and the commission allocated $458. That is not right. $458,162.60. In a historic move, the commission achieved a reduction in the student fee, lowering it from $30.11 to $29.93 per student. Though modest, this 18-cent reduction is the first in over 2 decades and reflects our commitment to financial stewardship while sustaining robust support for student organizations. This resolution embodies our shared responsibility to maximize the impact of student fees on our campus community. It reaffirms our dedication to leadership, accountability, and enriching the university experience for all. I urge you to support this resolution and its proposed allocations, ensuring our continued investment in programs that empower, educate, and inspire our university community. Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay.
Now we're on to a period of discussion on the resolution. Is there any discussion? Senator Ryan?
There's a slight adjustment. Under Student Government Association, it says American Multicultural Association. I make a motion to amend that to American Multicultural Students instead. A little bit down.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Is there a second to change association to students? Senator Rangel? Is there any discussion on the motion? If there's no further discussion, the chair is seeking unanimous consent to change association to students. Is there any dissent? In the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted. Is there any further discussion on the resolution? Regent Adidam?
I think it's also important to change international student
That's
association to international student services as well. I'd love to see, I think that's the only.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the same thing. I said, that's not.
International
That's a-
Student Service.
Senator Hirschbaum Harding?
we motion, I motion.
We're collective.
I am motioning to change International Student Association to International Student Services.
Is there a second to the motion? Senator Valladares? Is there, now we're on to a period of discussion on the motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? If there's no further discussion, the chair is seeking unanimous consent from the student senate. Is there any dissent to change association to services?
Jesus.
In the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted. Is there any further discussion on the resolution? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. And then is there any, then all those who abstain, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the resolution passes. Our next item of business is transferring funding to public relations. Senator Meister?
Move to Drew for 3 minutes.
For 3?
We do.
Or
We can like
5.
press 5, yeah.
8:30 minutes.
Is there a second to move to group for?
Why are you, oh
5
my
minutes?
god, that makes me very nervous.
5 minutes. Second by Senator Rangel, requires a majority vote. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. The student senate has moved to group for 5 minutes. We'll be back at 8:40.
I thought you were gonna motion to reconsider.
No, I would, yeah.
I thought you were gonna motion to reconsider there. I'd be like, I motion to reconsider.
That'd have been great. That would have been so funny. How does you wish?
Okay.
Great, this is a great meeting, I love this meeting.
Spring break has broken everybody.
Yeah, like, here for this.
It's okay.
I am so sorry, I did not resist.
It's not here too. You materialized, and I just.
You were like.
Well, my one friend who lives in my building.
Cause, okay, so it's Aditi accidentally abstained. She didn't think she could vote on it, but Dole was like, no, we can vote, and so then it's going, and then they're just having this little interaction right now. And she keeps aloof and flowing. And then Taunton raises his placard, and I think he's gonna motion to reconsider it.
All of us were.
And then he didn't, but you should do it.
I'm kidding. Hold up.
Got it.
So.
This keeps getting better.
I don't see her at all. Sierra. I need to talk to something.
If you're a campaign manager in your campaign or your person.
No.
Anthony.
Rate that.
Okay, whatever.
Because I was like, you're like,
Yeah.
so if like someone from like USD repost something, they're supposed to like, you have to post it. Like, no, like, that's not.
That's what I talked to her, was like, she was walking from her. Walked to lunch. No, she was like walking probably because she got all this.
Okay, cool.
But this quarter, we taught science and social studies. And our teacher in English taught math. And then we switched, so we start teaching math from the back.
Oh my God.
Figure out how much.
Yeah.
Isolated lessons, like I've just never, but like it's very different to do, like in practice times you do isolated lessons because you're not there all day every day. But in teaching, you're there all the time, so you teach a whole unit. So ever since I started, I have been the only teacher of science. So if you plan it all together, you're planning the assessments, you're planning like the lessons, you're like, you're literally.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna
Thing. And so when we switch over, there won't be any like delay time, it'll just be immediately, I'm in charge of all of it. So it's like, also, you know, figuring out like how do I talk about fractions in Spanish in a way that they're gonna understand, and like just how do I talk about fractions to someone who's never seen a fraction before, like as a general concept.
Yeah, one of the, like for elementary, I was in the program where they taught Spanish.
Oh.
One week, we stayed with our Spanish teacher, and then the second week we switched to video.
Well, that's an interesting way of doing it.
Yeah,
That'd
we
be more chaotic,
but
but.
that's like,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's like, that's their size or something. I'm like,
Yeah. Or half of the day with me, so my morning group, but they only have reading in one language and then every.
In the middle of your life.
Every class, it's gonna change, but that's like a.
I guess.
Yeah, we don't. I only extend. But I love programming.
Yeah.
So we had like. Full language in high school, and full language middle school too. They're having 3 now and the new one, and then now.
At least.
I don't know, just to.
We've got an extensive program, and it's pretty full-fledged, but it's, yeah. I don't have twice the thing, students, and they spend half the.
Oh, stop.
But the only weird thing is then like every quarter. Oh, every kid still does.
Girl, that is, but.
So this is miscommunication.
So I would teach science, I teach science twice a week. So every day I do the same science lesson twice because I'm doing and I do everything in my class.
Got it.
And then I did math through the work time. So then they'll do math every day with me, and I'll do it twice. But it's twice in Spanish.
Yeah.
And it's just like weird stuff where it's like,
So are you like getting time then? She's
well, it's speaking all day, every day. So I work 47 hours a week, but they still have me here.
That's.
And it's just like, it's a lot. Some of the things with fractions too, where like, the way you discuss something formally in mathematics is very different than how you talk about it. That's so bad. Day to day. If I'm just saying a fraction of something, it's be like, well, tres de cuatro partes. So it's 4 parts, you know, but that's not actually like how you name fractions. Nobody, like, oh, they won't be rude, you know?
Yeah.
Like look up, genuinely look up, I didn't have to say everything, but like after maybe 10, they don't have special names, they're just like all the number and the capital. But nobody has, I've never heard anyone ever say.
Well, unless they're getting it for somebody, but looks like they're just like targeting.
Unless they probably way over
Just say
5 minutes.
cinco para
Yeah, but we don't have
say.
a wow.
That's it, you just say 5 parts out of 11.
Just say like.
Many of them are quiz.
Here, let me just yell for the hallway.
Cinco Ponce is technically like.
Get going again. Yeah, we have
Or
a
it would
single.
be like, so it would be a division, because you're.
That was the
like,
thing.
Like that's the tricky part is we can't start only be taking exams and then they both have to be like English because some of their exams are in English.
Yeah.
And so it's like I just made them 2 So there's another thing like this is a multi. Eventually we'll get into the fact that they have special names, and so I made them a fraction equivalent. Yeah, and at the bottom it's got all of them.
I was only 10 minutes.
Because I was like, I don't, there's 2. I do know them now.
We need 9.
If someone was like, oh, how do you say like?
Do you need 9? You need 9, or do we just need
I can
half
say
of
that
people
more
here?
easily in English because
Just need half.
all of them, it's just.
No,
You know,
we need
out of it.
quorum
The
of
first
total
10 in
student
Spanish
government
are
voting
real
members.
specific
Okay, so we do need
government
9
names.
total.
Yeah, so it has to be quorum no matter what.
That's what I'm saying is it's just first of all, how do I tell somebody?
Need 2 more.
General, and then also, how do I do it in like.
Need a sergeant in our space. That was so great.
The first one was needs to because they have to do stuff.
Since Rosie's going to the bathroom right now. And what we need, who else is here?
One thing and then she goes on a tangent
She
about
said-
work.
Senator Lopez.
Mom, I only have
Okay.
5.
That would be
Huh?
hilarious.
They said
Oh,
who
I
else
know.
is here.
He's not. It's true.
Move the group is crazy. What if we just end the meeting?
What were y'all giggling about in the front of the room? Real nervous.
Oh, it had layers, it had layers.
It was, so when I went over and then came back, they thought I was going to motion to reconsider because.
nervous.
We have the.
Well, we were giggling because Aditi had done a abstain, because we were both confused about whether we could vote because we were commissioners. And then,
Yeah.
But when I raised my
Like
placard,
I did last year.
they thought I was gonna motion to reconsider the entire resolution. I said out loud. I should have.
Never a dull moment, you know?
I know what I'm doing.
I thought you were just gonna close the computer and be like, no.
I'm actually here for it, if you decide to do that.
Oh, I forgot to.
I'm actually gonna motion for the minutes to be transcribed in 6 languages.
We've done this already, so like, it's not even a big deal, like, it's not even a challenge.
The name's in Spanish.
Also, I'm still waiting for that motion to end all sessions.
Oh.
I'm like listening to you, I'm listening to you.
Wait, so. They have opens on this. Later today, which school were you at?
See, Kevin,
even know.
what happens though
So,
is
wait,
if you refuse to acknowledge it, then I motion to overturn the decision of the chair. And then we do that.
Actually,
And then we end session.
And I heard one like.
Wait, not acknowledge the motion to overturn?
I always wanted to make them.
I said, girl, you don't need to talk to the fan teacher, please.
No, and there, they still needed to talk to the PE teacher and amount.
The PE teacher is crazy.
The student senate is back from recess. Our next item of business is SR 24-25-023. Transferring funds to public relations. Is there a proponent speech? Yes. Son?
Yes.
Oh, that's not really great. That's a typo on all of their sheets.
Shawnee, you gonna come down or?
Oh.
Hi, for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Anthony. I do the marketing for SGA. That's Ashani, as you all know. So yeah, this resolution, we are planning on doing hopefully doing some transferring some line item funding to a specific funding known as public relations. So me and Ashani were a few weeks back in our committee meeting, decided to, what should I say, design graduation honor stoles. So like, you guys know what stoles are?
Yes.
Yeah, red stoles with this student government logo on it, and it has the word student government. We currently, we're planning on ordering about 100, so about 100 for like, as an investment for like future years of SGA. So when we looked at the cost for that, the cost about $2,100, $2,100. So we are as well as, $2,100. And in addition to that, so as you know, the Director of Marketing helps oversee the Election Commission. So currently today, Election Commission met and they were discussing dates we're planning on doing the debate, SGA election ticket debate, and then as well as doing a candidate meet and greet within the next few weeks. And so the Election Commission is thinking about doing some Sodexo catering kind of deals, a little bit for some other purchasing funds. We're not entirely sure about the cost for that yet, but we are planning on doing some Sodexo catering. What else? Shawnee, we're planning on doing some I Love NU Day stuff.
Yeah, so this isn't included on the resolution, so there is a possibility to amend it to include I Love NU Day stuff. But something that SGA has been tasked with on a year-to-year basis is planning a UNO-led event for celebrating student success during I Love NU Day week. Oh my gosh, I Love NU week. And we have chosen to host our event on either Monday, March 31st or Tuesday, April 1st, depending on availability of the Milo Bill Student Center atrium. And we are working with the Office of Engagement to figure out collaboration in terms of expenses for the event. But overall, the cost estimate as a whole is totaling around $2,750. So we would need to transfer additional funds to the public relations line item so that we could successfully host events from the Election Commission, purchase stoles for you all graduating and future graduates, and also ensure that I Love NU Day is successful as well. Yeah, anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, so the line items that we are planning on transfer from would be from student court, as one of regarding recent financial policy changes, student court can't access their funds right now. So we're planning on transferring the amount that student court had. We're also planning on transferring the rest of professional development. So that was like 1250, right?
So right now, the resolution says, that we'll be transferring 750 over, but there's 1,080 in the line item, so we would also like that amended to reflect the, I guess, total left in the current professional development line item to transfer over as well.
Okay. I think the final line item was contingency, which is just $1,000 for like any overdraft from one of the line items. That's really it. Contingency, student court and professional development. Anything else we need to add?
I guess not really. So as I mentioned, we would like to amend it to include the I Love NU Day event, change that professional development line item to be 1,081, I think, and then, yeah, and if you want to look at our appendices, here's the total for the Stoles and our current budget. I think is this updated? This is slightly outdated, so if you want the current one, you guys can check SharePoint.
By the way, on their stools, we got like a major discount, $3,000 off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was there.
I know, right? Any questions? Yeah, no.
For that amendment to the resolution where we're talking about like the specific dollar amounts, are those the remainders?
Hey, folks.
Are those the remainders in those line items, like the amounts you were talking about? Can we just say the remainder of professional development, student court and?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Anything works. Anything, we just need more money in the public relations line item.
Yeah. Anything else? The master.
I just have a question.
No.
For the stools, is it only, like, is there a certain number of years you have to be on student government to get it?
Nope.
All graduating seniors. So if you join this year and you're graduating this semester, you get a stole. Next year, if you're graduating and you happen to be an SGA, you get a stole. So like this includes everyone. So agency board members, agency directors, commission, so election commission, traffic appeals, court. I was gonna say FYLC, but you guys are all like first year students. So unless you guys plan on graduating within a year, like kudos to you all, but you guys would end up getting a stole then.
Yeah. Basically, as long as you did student government or are about to graduate, you're gonna get a stole.
And that goes for December graduates as well. So if you join like fall and you graduate in December, even if you were there for like a semester, you still get a stole. So everyone gets a stole.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much.
So many series. Three times.
Is there any discussion on the resolution? Senator Meister?
Can we scroll down to the therefore be it resolved?
Be resolved.
Motion to amend therefore be it resolved that SGA will transfer the remainder of professional development contingency and student court to the public relations line item.
Is there a seconded? Seconded by Senator Hyman Avalok. Is there any discussion on the motion? Is there a discussion? And then you said SGA will transfer
The remainder of professional development, so you can delete 750 from,
strike this.
strike the next word. Strike 1,000 from. And strike 250 from. And then strike totaling 2,000, comma.
Comma, okay. And then move it on. Okay, so this is the current motion that's on, yeah.
Remainder needs a D.
Remainder is spelled.
Oh, I see it. Is there, this is the current motion. Would therefore be resolved. Is there any discussion on this current motion? If there's no discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. Ring 10. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. 0, and then in the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted. Is there any further discussion on the resolution? Oh, Regent Adidam,
Motion to add another whereas clause, underneath the Stoles clause where it says SGA is looking to also partially fund expenses related to I Love Indian.
is there a motion? Senator Hyman Avalos, and then Regent Adidam, are you able to send me that?
Yeah.
motion, please? Like the wording?
Yeah.
And then, is there a second?
Yeah.
Senator Brady. Now we're on to a period of discussion on the motion. Waiting for the motion. Yeah, just the SJ DP, please. And then where would you like me to place this?
I think it's the third one. The third whereas clause.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Did we already? vote on the motion?
Just a second.
Just a second, okay, is there any discussion on the motion? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards.
Not
In the
opposed.
opinion, Director, no, sorry. In the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted. Oh, Director Lexie?
Like someone to make a motion to change that whereas clause to the same format of the rest
Oh.
of the document.
You can just copy and paste it from. That is just I think if it's just a formatting thing, we don't need to motion because we're not changing any of the contents of what's written. It's just a physical formatting.
Seconded.
You just need to change the
Yeah,
font.
I-
That doesn't actually change the content of it.
Also, can you scroll down and delete that random period that's in between the whereas and the therefore?
Scroll down.
In between the whereas and the therefore clause, there's just a random.
Like
Right
floating
between
above
pauses.
the therefore.
Above the.
Like right above the T and therefore.
Give him a moment, guys.
The T is dotted, the T should not be dotted, it should be crossed.
Yeah, but.
Oh, I see.
You're doing great, sweetie.
Sorry, if that stayed in there, I was gonna have a conniption.
Thank you for catching that. So now we're on to a period of discussion on the entire resolution. Senator Meister,
This resolution looks amazing. Let's prove it.
is there any other discussion? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the resolution passes.
Really, I just feel this.
Hey, Kevin,
Senator
after you put that
Meister?
voting, can you scroll down a tiny bit and capitalize election commission in the fourth whereas?
The fourth whereas.
Right, oh, down
1, 2, 3, 4,
5.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
The
thanks.
very motion,
Doesn't need it. It's cool.
formatting error. So our next item of business is SR 2425